Audiobooks.com presents an unabridged recording of The Ultimate History of Video Games, from Pong to Pokemon and beyond. The story behind the craze that touched our lives and changed the world, by Stephen L. Kent. Read for you by Dan Woren. Forward. When Stephen Kent asked me to write the foreword to this book, I was deeply honored and rather pleased. I then started to wonder what I would write. These feelings made me realize that what is so useful about this book is that it chronicles the beginnings of a new entertainment medium. Our industry's greatest problem has been one of identity. Where, culturally, do video games fit? They don't fit into films. They don't fit into books. They don't fit into any existing pigeonhole. 12 years ago, when I produced my first game, my greatest challenge was to try to get someone interested in it. After talking with Stephen, I believe he has found a similar problem with placing this book. Thankfully, he persevered as I did. However, now that we have this book, at last we have a faithful record on the cultural history of what I am sure will one day be one of the most important entertainment mediums in the world. It is shocking to me to open the first page and read through the first chapter and look back through the years of my life. Each chapter unveils a new episode in the history of computer games that coincides with my own history. What this highlights for me is that young people today think of computer games as a natural pastime, which was not always the case. They can't imagine a world without computer games, and what Stephen's book does, and it is the first to do this, is set out the history of computer games that is both compelling and compulsive. I endorse and encourage you to listen to this excellent book. Peter Molyneux. Acknowledgements. In 1972, my physical education teacher took the class to a bowling alley in Kalihi on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. As we walked past the familiar line of electromechanical games, Night Bomber was my favorite at the time, I noticed a game that seemed to be running on a television set, or possibly a computer. My teacher sent the other kids off to bowl, while he and I dropped a quarter into the machine and batted a square ball back and forth with rectangular paddles. Obviously, the game was Pong. 1 hour later, as the rest of the class finished bowling, I had a new addiction that has now lasted for nearly 30 years. 4 years later, I found myself playing Midway's gunfight with a friend named Ed, when 2 of the best-looking girls from my high school class came up to talk with us. As anyone who knew me in high school will tell you, that was not a common occurrence. I really wanted to talk to them. Ed really wanted me to talk to them, too. But every time I looked away from the game, he shot me. In the end, gunfight won out, and I had proven my absolute nerddom. Researching this book gave me the opportunity to interview Dave Nutting, the man who modified Gunfight for the U.S. market, and Al Alcorn, the engineer who built the first Pong machine. In fact, writing this book has given me the chance to meet most of the people who entertained me, addicted me, and caused me to spend an evening with Ed, when I might have had more fun with Lisa. What I found out about these people was that the vast majority of them are kind, smart, and generous. With the exceptions of 3 people, Sam Trammell, Ken Kutaragi, and Hiroshi Yamauchi, all of the people I asked for interviews granted them and put up with the endless hours of repetitive questions. In fact, such busy and important men as Ralph Baer, Nolan Bushnell, Al Alcorn, Masaya Nakamura, Minoru Arakawa, Howard Lincoln, Tom Zito, and several others granted me multiple interviews. In the end, much of this book was cobbled together from information that I gathered from more than 500 interviews. While I would like to thank the people who generously donated their time for these interviews, many of which were several hours long, I feel it is equally important to thank the many people who helped me arrange everything. For every interview that went into this book, there was an average of 2 PR communications people working to put everything together.